Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Week 10 of Sloti Central. I'm your host, Jason Horowitz.
And I'm co-host Mike Fabiano.
And we want to welcome you to do a great Remembrance Day weekend up here in Canada, especially in Saskatchewan. We got a great week of fantasy football coming up, don't we?
We have a great week, and we have a great Week 10 version of Sloti Central for you. We'll have our Stardom Sit-em segment. We'll have our Commissioner's Corner. That's a revenue segment. This will be the second week for that. We'll have our little CFL spiel, conference finals this weekend, and a special surprise guest interview with defending champion, two-time defending champion, Mike Hunt's GM, Greg Lazurko. So we have a great show for you tonight. I think we should get it started. Let's get right to it. Stardom Sit-em.
Stardom Sit-ems, Mike, I'm sitting around looking. I want to find you a great combo of wide receiver and quarterback, but I can't just find two teams right now. So I'm going to pick you one from two different teams. I'm going to be my quarterback is from Detroit Lions, John Kitna.
John Kitna, I think that's a great start for this week as well. Why do you think that's a great start?
John Kitna put up 19 fantasy points last week. I'm very impressed with that. He's playing on an offense right now, run by Mike Martz, right? Ex-St. Louis Ram offensive coordinator. And right now, the Detroit Lions look pretty good, don't they, Mike?
Can't go wrong with the Detroit Lions. That offense is firing all cylinders. He's a definite starter.
Yes, totally agree.
Now, who else would be in the ranks of stardom this week?
When we go from combos from wide receiver quarterbacks, I'm going to look at not another combo, so to say, but I'm going to look at wide receiver Chris Henry. Chris Henry is coming back from where?
I don't know. Chris Henry, he was back last week from whether it was a substance abuse suspension or team suspension for misdemeanor, bad behavior. I don't know, but he's back and he's ready, and he's taking the fantasy world by storm.
Oh, totally agree with that. Nothing beats 2 weeks off, especially given involuntary by the team. They had to come down hard with a fine, but 2 weeks off, rest of the body, come back firing. Look out for Chris Henry this week.
Look out for him. If you have the opportunity, I try to trade for him. Even if it costs you maybe a number one back, I think Chris Henry, he's ready.
You know what? Number one back leads me to my sit-ems.
Oh, and who's your sit-em this week?
My sit-em this week is Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I look at Steven Jackson, and like I mentioned earlier, Mike Martz left, and I just don't see Steven Jackson keeping up his numbers like he has been the past few weeks. And going into this week's contest, Steven Jackson is just not doing it for me right now, and I want to sit him.
Yeah, I agree with that sit too. Steven Jackson, he was one of the top running backs drafted this year in fantasy. He scores touchdowns, he rushes for lots of yards. I just can't see anyone wanting to play him this week. I think if you have a chance, now's the time to unload him, even if it's for someone's backup QB or a number 3 receiver.
Yes.
I'd sit Steven Jackson this week and probably for the rest of the year.
Sir, I think you should know these growths on your forearms. They're giant tumors.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't realized this is not how a human being is supposed to look.
And
the speech thing and what you're doing with your eye? You had a stroke about 7 years ago. That you've managed to be walking around all this time is nothing short of a miracle. I'd say about 2 months.
And welcome back, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed Commissioner's Corner as much as we did. Here's our special surprise now. We welcome to our studio Greg Lazurko, GM of Mike Hunt's, the two-time defending champ. Greg, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Congratulations, Greg.
Jason.
So to ask you, Greg, you're two-time defending champ. That's a pretty good feat, tough in this Sloti League. What's the secret to your success?
Well, drinking. Lots of drinking.
Really? That could be my problem. I'm not that big of a drinker, and I'm not winning. So maybe I should hit the bottle a little harder.
Crown Royale, my friend. Crown Royale.
Right.
I know. Let us know, Greg. Who do you see as your number one threat this year in the Sloti League to dethrone you from your perch?
Well, of the existing teams, I thought this guy right here, PIB, would give me a run, but so far I'm not too worried. I heard from Luke that the Fudge Packers might have a good team this year, but you know what? I just came back from having a crap, and I saw what my opponent would look like this week, and I wasn't too impressed, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm feeling pretty good about a three-peat.
That is a great statement. Most of our work done is done.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
Speaking of 3, I hear Fudge Packers is a guy called Marion Barber 3.
Number 3, yes.
This guy is the only guy that scares me. No.
So you wouldn't want to be trading him away
No.
for anything.
You know, that's a good point.
No, if Graham Carey, if you're watching this, you got Marion Barber. That guy makes me shake in my boots. But that's it. That's all you got, brother. That's it.
A little bit of smugness from the two-time defending champion.
Little bit of smugness, you know. Someone needs to get brought back to earth, obviously, and
Smug. Come on. Can't argue with the results.
Okay, so let's get into our. There's some CFL action, playoff action north of the border.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to look into it. There's bigger things in NFL fantasy going on this weekend. There actually is CFL playoff action, Western and Eastern finals.
Yes, sir.
This is what we live for.
That's what we live for. And before we get into our beloved West, I want to look at the East. And we got Toronto, Montreal in Montreal, and boys, I'm picking Toronto.
Not me. I'm going with Montreal.
Gotta agree, Montreal. Do it for Don Matthews, boys. Do it for the Don.
I think that's more than enough analysis for the Eastern final. No one cares about that. What we care about
Doesn't matter.
our Riders.
Riders.
Vancouver riding off that ass whipping in Calgary last week. They're playing Dave Dickinson and the BC Lions. What do you think, Jason?
You know, this is going to be a really close game. There's a different benefit from playing outdoors. We got an indoor stadium, and actually, Greg here can comment on the indoor stadium. He actually was there last year, weren't you?
2 years ago, actually, it was the last regular season game right before, a couple weeks before that Western Division Final game back in BC place there. Good atmosphere. There was only 25,000. I couldn't imagine that place being full for a playoff game. It'd be awesome. That game, I remember 2 years ago, it still hurts to this day. It's redemption time this week, though, for the Riders.
It is redemption time, but boys, even though the Riders overall played a pretty good game last week, I think we got to be honest. Kerry Joseph has got to pull up those socks and earn some of that $350,000.
Yeah.
Let's face it. To win in the playoffs, you got to have great performances by quarterback in the CFL.
No, very true. And the way our defense have played last week, you can't ask for a better game again. So it's going to be tough for our defense to top last week's game. So, Kerry Joseph, the onus is on you to step up and earn that money and take the Rough Riders to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg.
I totally agree, guys. Our defense, if they bring the intensity and aggression again against BC, I'm very confident we're going to come away with this win. But Joseph has to be smart with the ball, can't turn it over. I think we're going to be okay this week. We're going to Winnipeg.
That's a good bold prediction. The Riders, they've matched up well against BC, not just this year taking 3 or 4 from them, but the last few years. It seems since Dave Dickinson's return from the NFL, has been playing in BC, the Riders have caused him some fits. If they can continue to get some pressure, rattle his cage early, I think the Riders could make for a successful afternoon. And if they do that, I think the Riders have a great chance of winning. If they let Dickinson get into a rhythm early, I think they could be in some trouble.
No, I totally agree. Just like letting a guy like Henry Burris get in the rhythm, our Riders' defense able to stop him early, and he was just confused and rattled all day by our defense and what we were bringing him, and we ended up getting all those turnovers and interceptions. So getting Dave's face, getting Mr. Dickinson's face. Okay, so what do you think, Greg, about the game?
Well, I think the Riders match up good against BC for the simple fact, you know what Dave Dickinson's bringing to the table. The guy's the passer. The guy is one of the purest quarterbacks in the whole league. It's nothing fancy with BC. They got the receivers, they got the thrower, they want to throw the ball. Joe Smith, rookie, had a pretty good year, but you know what? Dave Dickinson wants the ball, throw the ball to G-Roy and the boys there. So as long as our DBs and the defense can cover the way they did against Calgary last week and get pressure up front on Dickinson, I don't see why they can't win this game.
So who are you picking?
What a question. Riders.
Jason?
Yes, definitely the Rider Pride. I'm bleeding green this week, Mike and Greg, and I can't wait for us to go to that Grey Cup final.
And I'm eating a lot of crow from last week. I picked Burris and the Stampeders to take the
Yes,
Riders.
Burris.
I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm picking the Riders in a route and ready to see place this weekend.
Right on.
That's not it. Hi, you know what? Because we have our very own Jason Horowitz
That's right.
is coaching in the Saskatchewan Provincial 3A football final tomorrow.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
Big time.
So his Peacock Tornadoes will take on the Weyburn Eagles down in Weyburn.
Yeah, it's going to be an intense game. The game is 1:30 Central, and I am just excited. My very first ever provincial game in 12-man football. So you know what, it's going to be a great weekend overall. A lot of football, a lot of fun, and hopefully a lot of winning.
I think it should be good. I was able to watch a little bit of the Moose Jaw League this year. Liam Dow, little running back from Moose Jaw Peacock, one hell of a player. I think he's going to carry them to the 3A title. Go Peacock.
Go Peacock.
Let's go Tornadoes!
All right. Well, we want to thank Mike Hunt for joining us in the studio tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having
And
me.
for Jason Horowitz, I'm Mike Fabiano. Good luck with your fantasy this week, and we'll check back in for week 11.
Packers are going down.